Welcome to the Jeff Knows Inc. Entrepreneurial Show with your host, Jeff Lopes.
We are live on the Jeff Knows Inc. podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Lopes. Super excited to have on today, Eliot Marshall. What is up, brother?
Yo, homie. We're homies again, right? We're homies again. It's so good to be homies again.
It's been an interesting journey with myself and Eliot. We kind of met about 12 years ago when he was fighting the UFC. He was in Canada, and through one of my companies, we're sponsoring him in a way. And 12 years later, our lives connected again through the coaching and motivational world and inspirational world and whatnot. And we're working once again together. So it's been quite a journey. And today we're going to kind of go through Eliot's journey, and we're going to talk about a ton of things. So I always start off by getting the audience to know what you're currently doing. We're going to change it up. We're going to actually start off by Eliot. Where'd you grow up? How many siblings? What did you do growing up? And give me a little rundown of your childhood.
God, my childhood is so interesting, right? Because it has like this over here and then this over here that are so opposite. So I grew up in South Jersey. I have one sister, and my nuclear family was amazing. Like I had an amazing nuclear family. My mom and dad, I like, you couldn't have had better parents. I was educated, grew up middle class. Yeah. Did martial arts. That was great.
When did you start that journey with martial arts?
I was 6 years old. I saw the Karate Kid, did the crane kick, hit a lamp. There we go. Getting karate. That's where it started. That's where those shebangs started. So I have a personal close affection with the Karate Kid. And I'm watching Cobra Kai on Netflix, right? Who isn't? Actually, I started when it was on YouTube.
Me too. So, I watched all the first two seasons on YouTube as well.
That's when you're a fucking OG to Cobra Kai, when you didn't wait for him to get on Netflix. But I also have this interesting thing where, so my dad's Black, and my mom is the daughter of Holocaust survivors, and I grew up with these two Holocaust survivors.
Oh wow!
So the idea that you're not okay has always been implanted in my head from the beginning, because my dad grew up during civil rights, right? Mm-hmm. Like that, he came through childhood in the 50s and 60s, right? Because he was born in 1948 to a very poor family, I guess you don't know, I just told you.
Yeah.
And then I don't have to explain what a concentration camp was like.
Of course.
So that upbringing and being around these people definitely shaped and gave me this anxiety, and then this anxiety that you're not safe, right? Because that's their message. You aren't safe. And you have to be prepared. Like Hitler was always coming again. Like always. Yeah. We were prepared for Hitler, man. Like we were prepared for the Nazis. There's an escape plan, right?
This is you growing up. This is a mindset as a childhood. That's crazy. Yeah.
And I still have it, man. I still have it. Like I mean, I don't have it quite like they did. Like I don't have food in a basement in a locker from 15 years ago, but if I had to get out right now, I could get out right now with me and my family right now.
So you're always prepared like that, huh? That's awesome. That's crazy. I mean, it's almost like the old school mentality, because my parents are very, my mom and dad are very much like that in the way where their cantina at home is just stacked. They're always overstacked in case of emergency. They always have so much amount of water. My dad is always the one. He was the only one in the neighborhood with the generator. It was just always that mindset. And it is crazy you're saying that, because I used to look at my parents and be like, oh my God, you guys are over analyzing, over preparing for something to happen bad. But it's crazy I'm assuming there's a lot of people that still have that mindset where it's interesting. I never even coming from your age, that's interesting. You're saying that, I should say. And then I
don't have like a generator and all this food, right? Like I could leave.
Yeah.
Right. I could leave within a couple hours if I had to.
Yeah. That's crazy. So, so you started with let's take the martial art aspect. We're going to take a little bit of that, but there's a lot of areas we're going to dive into. So Karate Kid, when did you actually transition to other forms of martial arts? What age?
Not until the end, right? So not until the end.
Seriously, huh?
Not until the end of my karate career, right before I moved out to Colorado.
Karate career. How old are you?
Yeah. At this point, 18, 17.
Did you compete in the karate world?
Yeah. So this is how the story started. I mean, you got it. Like, so it's the national tournament for this style of karate that we do.
What type of karate was it first off?
It was Korean. It's called Subak-do.
Okay.
And in karate, you fight your friends because it's just point sparring. Who fucking cares?
Yeah.
And my friend dodged. He did the masters division, right? He did like the old man division. I was like, man, you scared little bitch, you know? And he's like, oh yeah, you think I'm scared? Come over to my house next Friday. And I was like, all right, I'll come over to your house next Friday. I'll whoop your ass then, you know? And I go over his house. I had no clue he was doing jiu-jitsu. And oh my God, it was 1997. Oh my God. Like I got the full indoctrination. And I was like, what is that?
Was he doing Japanese jiu-jitsu or Brazilian jiu-jitsu?
No, Brazilian.
So he was full in it. Okay.
He was about to get his blue belt, right? You know, but he was going to, like, I lived in South Jersey. He was traveling to Philly, but so.
Which gym was he training at that time? Under who?
Maxercise. Steve Maxwell with the Miglerisi brothers. They all came up together. You know?
That's old school, buddy.
Old school. Maxercise don't even exist anymore.
Yeah.
But I couldn't go. Like once I got a taste, I couldn't go, right? Because it's an hour away from my house. I'm 17 years old. I'm in high school. Yada yada. It's not like it is today. I mean, I could have gone, but I shouldn't say I couldn't have gone. I didn't make the sacrifice to go. Put it there. But they showed me a little bit. I get through high school. High school was terrible. All of school was terrible. Like the only good interaction I had outside of my nuclear family was karate, was this martial arts.
So why would you say high school was terrible?
Oh, because I mean, like my house was getting spray painted with swastikas and niggers go home. And so that's why high school was terrible. I grew up in a town that was, super not accepting of who we were. That's why high school was terrible. Wow. So the fear that my grandparents and my dad put in me,
that was instilled by everybody else. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
It came true. So this was true now, right? Like this is a thing. This, like, you can't trust anybody because you don't know who's spray painting your house. You don't know who's busting your windows in, you know, and stuff like that. Now they didn't actually do anything to us. They just wanted to scare us.
Yeah.
And it worked. I mean, they didn't, it worked really well on me. So it was like, you're not safe.
Yeah.
Right? How you're just not safe.
No. And like you said, it's instilled in you from a young age, and then you see that. So it brings it to the forefront of everything, the reality of it all, right? And then how fucked up this world could really be, right?
I was allowed to go play outside of some kids' houses, but I wasn't allowed in their house.
Wow.
Like that wasn't acceptable. So, that's how it goes. That's my life, right?
No, it's a story. I mean, you embrace your story, which is a powerful one, but you embrace it, and that makes them. Those are all trigger points that makes who you are. That's the reality of it, right?
This is why I say that there's nobody in the world that's luckier than me, because, and we'll probably get into my mental health and all that later. You know? It was just bad enough, all of it, that it gave me the strength to be able to get through. Right? Like, because not everybody gets through, man. Right? Not everybody gets through this. Not everyone gets through racism and anti-Semitism. Right? Some people are killed for it. Yeah. Mine wasn't that bad. Mine wasn't that extreme. Mine was just bad enough that it actually allowed me to go find my power. And I didn't have anything to do with that. I didn't have anything to do with how bad my anxiety got later. Like it was bad. It was really bad. But what if it was 20% worse, which would have been a little out of my control, right? If it was 20% worse, could I have handled? Look, I would like to think so, but we don't know. You never know. You never know what the tipping point is of too much. Yeah. So for me, that's why I say there's just no one luckier than me, like in the whole world, because all of the bad shit happened, like, because I really like to do this thing, like, everything in your life happens for you. It doesn't happen to you. Yeah. And that's how I see the world. But goddamn, I wasn't in a concentration camp. I wasn't around when Hitler came. I'm not over in Africa right now, where, people are AIDS ridden and like, fuck, it's hard to say that to someone who's whose mom was murdered and dad has AIDS and malaria and your brothers are all, you're like, happens for you. I'm privileged enough to be able to say that and lucky enough, you know?
Yeah, that's just it's. I mean, you're taking it obviously in the experiences, and obviously you try to pull the positivity out of everything. So let's get back to your jits. So when was the first time you did your first class, and who'd you do it with?
My first class, my first like real official class was a Mall Easton. Yeah, you know, so it was a Mall Easton, and it was in Boulder, Colorado. He was teaching out of a karate school in 1998. Yeah. And from that point, I did it for a couple months, and then I ran out of money, but I also had gotten my first girlfriend. So I was getting laid for the first time, you know? So, you know, I mean, not to be too vulgar, but you know, the power.
I was about to say, are we gonna do a shout out for Amy there or something?
You know, like you're like especially the first time, right? You're like, whoa, what is this? You know, this is amazing. Yeah. So, I didn't end up continuing after, I don't know, 2 or 3 months, but then a year later, you know, my sophomore year, my girl broke up with me, and I had found out that he moved and opened his own spot. So I still don't have any money, but I go and I'm like, yo, dude, anyway, I can clean and trade. And he's like, homie, it is your lucky day because my cleaner literally quit 2 hours ago.
Seriously, huh? And how old are you at this point?
19.
Yeah. Very, very cool. And
now I'm the owner.
I know that it's crazy how the world changes, huh? And how many years? So let's get into that. So you started training. Yeah. When did you fall in love with it, and when did you evolve that to MMA? Okay, so so many layers here, huh? This. Yeah, and for layers. And for those that don't know Eliot, and I've got to know him quite a bit in the last couple of weeks or month. There's so many layers to Eliot.
I'm a fungus, baby. I'm a fungus, and I just grow on you, and you're just like, what is going on?
I love it. Okay, go.
My wife can't understand why she's still married to me, right? She's just like, but God damn, you just don't. I can't get rid of you, you know. And this is how it kind of rolls. Okay, so why I start fighting? Okay, so it kind of relates back to my childhood. So I'm 17, 18 years old, and I start to do this jiu-jitsu, right? Yeah. Like my friends show me a little bit. I also, at this point in my life, start to lose some baby fat, right? Because I was a little husky. Like the world wasn't nice to me either, as far as the, not the world, just genetically. You know, I was a late bloomer. So I was a little fat in height, and you know, all the way up until my senior year. And then I lose some weight. You know? And I learned this a little bit of jiu-jitsu. I'm talking about it at school. These wrestlers go, man, that shit don't work. But you can actually test jiu-jitsu rather than karate, right? You can't really test karate. So I'm like, all right, let's get on the mat. And I still suck at this point, but I'm good enough to beat them, you know? And these guys are state champs, and I choke them out, right? So a couple people hear about it. So I start to get some friends. I start to get popularity, you know, a little bit, right? So now I associate, okay, if I am a badass, I'll have friends. Yeah. Right? If I'm a badass, I'm going to have friends now. I know what I'm going to say. I'm going to say that I'm going to fight in the UFC. Because that's something I used to want to play in the NBA, right? And everyone could then look at me and go and laugh at me. It was like, make fun of me. But I could barely start for my fucking high school team, right? Like, and you're like, you're not making the NBA, dude, right? It was obvious. But the UFC was this thing that I just choked out these dudes, right? And it was like, oh, whoa. So who was the best in our school? I was better then. So therefore, maybe it was a possibility. And then, Eliot starts to get some friends. Now, I don't know if this is all true, but it was the narrative in my head, right? I start to get some friends. People start to think I'm cooler, blah, blah, blah. And so I'm like, this is the route. I'm going to fight in the UFC. So I get really good at jiu-jitsu because that was the route in the early 90s. Which
100%.
Like, you know, there was like, you know, if you got really good at jiu-jitsu, you'd be fine.
Did you do any wrestling in high school or anything, or no?
No, zero.
Zero. Okay. Yeah.
Zero. That's why I still suck at it. So I get good at jiu-jitsu. I win all the stuff. I win everything, that there is to win, basically. Not everything, but most.
Yeah.
And, I'm taking a shower one day, I'm working at a bar, married now at this point. And my wife says, hey, so you going to fight here or what? Because you either fight or let's get a job because this is no life.
Yeah.
So the next day I call the promoter, get a fight. And there we go. Fight a couple times, get on the Ultimate Fighter. And then, a year later, you sponsor me. But always for the wrong reason, deep down, right? Always to be accepted and loved by other people so that I would be safe, right? So that I would maybe be safe from the Nazis and the people that spray painted my house. And right. So we can tie it all back to this fear of being alone. And when Hitler comes again, right? Because he's going to, that somebody will help me, that somebody will make me feel safe, right? This is literally the reason that you're fighting me anyway. So in my mind, you can't lose, right? Because if you lose, then you're unaccepted. The internet goes crazy about you. People don't like you. They make fun of you. You get kicked out of the UFC, right? We go down, right?
Yeah.
So I fight not to lose. I don't really fight to win. And we all know what fighting not to, we all know what doing anything not to lose. We all know what doing anything in the negative looks like.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Right? So, I wasn't the best fighter. Which is, I know you're like, dude, you fought in the UFC, homie.
Yeah. I mean, it's different. It's a different mindset, right? I mean, it's
right.
I think a lot of you, and you might not realize, and I think that's why you're so scattered everywhere, is you're a perfectionist, but you just tone and that interest in certain things where your mind is always trying to grow. You have the natural entrepreneur inside you where you always want to develop and grow and build something. More. I think is that hustle. And because you have that inside you, your focus on perfecting something is just I'm never happy with it. And I see that even with yourself as there are conversations going. I'm like, you're like, oh, this is not good enough, or you're constantly battling that. And that has a lot to do up to your past, but also to do with your natural mindset of the hustle, where it's just, you just want to.
It drives my wife crazy. It drives her crazy. She's like, what? Like the fact that I'm up here doing podcasts and trying to figure out this gig, right? She's like, why do you do this? Like, why you the schools are good. You could just stay over there in that lane, and I don't even really have to do that much for the schools anymore, but it's not enough for me. Like, I'm enough as a human being. Like, as me, Eliot, I'm good. Like, I am enough, but I love the chase, man.
You're always going to be like that. I'm just the same way. You're always going to be like that. That's not going to, you're for you to think in your head that you are going to be retired on a beach at 60 or 55, that's never going to happen. You're going to the day you die, you're going to be hustling. That's just the way you're built. That's the way I was. And I came to a realization with that in 2020, because I always told my wife by 50 years old, I was going to be retired and just chilling and enjoying life. And then the pandemic hit and I took on 7 new things. And I was like, fuck, there's no way I'm going to fuck. There's no way. I sat at home for 2 weeks and I was going fucking crazy. Like, there's no way I could do that. So I think it's just that mind, that natural mindset of just that hustle, that drive, that energy, which is, I think that's the beauty of it all, right? It's people like you and me are the ones that create and build things, right? So I think it's a positive thing. You just have to know how to tone it in and really stay focused with it, right?
And I love my people too much. For me, that's what it really comes down to, is I have people in my life that I fucking love. Like we talk about it, like, and because you're like, Eliot, this brings you almost nothing, and you spend so much time on it, like the fighters and the training, but it does, but it fills my cup up. Yeah. Right. It fills my cup up. We were on vacation, I don't know, 2 years ago, and we have some friends that we, Canadians actually, that we it's kind of a funny story. We randomly were there once with them on the first time,
and where are they from?
Edmonton.
Okay.
Up by Edmonton. Yeah. And so we randomly, like, just happen, you're staying somewhere and you're both there. And then literally a year later, we got them again, and we're like, oh shit. So let's just be friends. And now they're like some of our best friends. Like, they're great.
Cool. That's cool.
So now we vacation, we purposely plan it together. to go at the same time.
They have kids as well. I'm
they
assuming?
have kids. Yep. So they have kids. So we were sitting on their balcony where we stay, and he's an accountant and he does really well for himself, but he's an accountant, right? That he doesn't love it, And we were having a couple drinks, and he was like, "Man," he's like, "if I offered you $100 million right now, that you could just stay here." Like you could just stay here. You could go everywhere else, but you couldn't go home. Like you couldn't go back there and do your life like it was. But you got 100 million and your family's here, obviously. And you could bring all of your family if you wanted, but you got to leave that life in Colorado. And I was like, you must have lost your fucking mind. No way. And my wife's looking at me like, what is the matter with you? And for me, it comes to like, I love my people too much. Like if you told me like, I don't want new people. It's like kids, right? Like you can't imagine having different kids. Yeah. Like you can, but right? Like, you've had another girlfriend, so you can imagine being married to somebody else. Yeah. Right. But you can't imagine having different kids. No. Right. No way. I don't want different kids. I want these two that I got right now, and all the difficulty and all the everything, and all that smoke. Well, I want that from everybody in my life. Like I love my people too much. So there's no amount of money that you could give me to make me stop doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, this is the passion too, right? I mean, we could talk about the passion to purpose all day long, but the passion is really driven there just by the way you're talking, your expression, just your energy when you're talking about it. So let's talk. There's two areas I'm going to talk about. I want to talk just quickly. Let's dive into something I wasn't going to go into, but we talked the other day, and I just want to get your mindset of reality TV when you're stuck in that house.
Oh God.
Let's talk about that for 2 seconds. So for those that are not listening, for those listeners, 1 second, just hold your time. For those listeners listening, Eliot was on the UFC reality show, and it was an interesting experience. It got him to the UFC, so it was obviously a positive experience in a way. But he had an interesting take to it. Let's dive into that, because I think everybody.
Well, you wanted me to do something where I had to do it again, and like blow up and like have a chance of $1 million or something, but a chance of $1 million. There's no, dude. Fuck that, bro. You were like, Eliot, it's 4 weeks of your life, and I was like, homie, I ain't broke.
For everybody listening, Under Armour is running a reality show, and I was trying to convince Eliot to try out for it, and his reaction was instant, authentic, and it was a fuck you, that's not happening, on the spot. So give me your experience with the reality show. Let's talk about that and why you would say no for the future.
I hate reality TV, man, because it's boring as hell. You're locked in a house with no communication with the outside world. It's like a science experiment. It's literally by the end of my reality season, everyone was either drinking themselves to sleep, right? Taking like over-the-counter sleep shit to fall asleep, or I had prescription sleep medicine. I almost quit the reality show. It went so bad. Like I had one of my acute little mental breakdowns, that can happen to me. Like to the point where I was in the semifinals, right? But the semifinals is actually the finals of the 7 weeks, right? You fight on the last day of the reality show, right? Or the last 2 days. So I was there because I get in the house, right? That's a crazy story, but I get in the house, I fight a week later, and then that put me in the semifinals. So I still got 5 weeks now. Like I just got 5 weeks to like stay in shape and then get ready to fight again. But I went so south mentally that I was done. Like I didn't sleep for like 3 nights, right? And I'm laying there one night and I'm like, man, all right, there's a phone, right? And you can call the producers and they'll, you can talk to them, but it just rings right to them. And I'm like, you know what? I'm done.
So you have do they allow you even a call to your wife or to your kid?
Fuck no.
Nothing at all, huh?
Nothing at all. Dude, you can't even fucking play music. They wouldn't even give us a deck of cards, bro. We asked for cardboard and we made cards.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
But why would that be even? I thought in my head they would give you everything you need to keep you happy.
No, they give you everything you need to go crazy: alcohol and boredom.
Because they want a reaction by people.
They want craziness.
Wow.
They want dudes pissing in your food.
They want guys to do stupid stuff so they can just up the reality of it. Do they
so
put you in?
Look, they don't film the craziness. They just film the reaction.
Yeah, of course. Do they put you in scenarios where, like you always hear with reality TV, they don't put you in different scenarios? No. Okay. Because I had a guy on the podcast. He did a reality show called Jersey Delicious. It was like a hair salon show or something like that. And he was telling me he was on the reality show, and they wouldn't tell him what to do, but they would put him in situations where they would wait for him to react. So one day he was with his business partner. He had to meet his business partner to talk about some business plan at a cafe, and his wife walks in, and then all of a sudden they're just talking, and his ex-girlfriend walks in, and they paid his ex-girlfriend, and they paid her to show up there, and everybody it was just one of the reaction, and obviously his wife can't stand her, and it was just, you put you in that scenario where it's like they knew shit was going to blow up.
Nope, none of that. You just take everything from you. And look, fighting's enough, bro.
Yeah.
Right. The intensity of fighting is enough.
Yeah.
Everything else, right? It's what everything else has to do, because there's no fight. They can't actually fight. We're gonna fight.
Where's your mindset when it comes to, like, how was your? It's just something we're going to dive into for the mental health aspect of it. Yeah. I think it's such a powerful thing for other people to listen to, because coming from a pro athlete, I think it's powerful for people to understand that. So with your mindset, when you were getting ready for a fight and in the day of the fight and all that stuff, let's talk about your experiences. How was the day of the fight, the morning of the fight, the weigh-ins? Like, how were you mentally preparing yourself for that? Were you ready at that point? Were you mentally like, fuck am I doing? Like, how was your mindset every time it came to a fight?
I was so mentally weak. I was ridiculously mentally weak.
It is so powerful hearing that, because I would guarantee if you just stood there in front of 50 million people, 90% of people would say, this guy is a friggin' machine. Like, they wouldn't have that mindset of you be mentally weak, or so like that mind would not be there mentally the day of the fight. So give me a little understanding and more in depth of that.
A mentally strong person, a mentally strong person knows exactly who they are. Okay. And there's no outside event that can ever touch who you are. Nothing can happen that will make you not this thing. So what am I saying? Currently, I'm a father, I'm a teacher, I am a student, I'm a leader, I'm a fighter, and I'm a survivor. What event could ever make me not a father? Death? Nope.
Yeah, I love that.
So I know who I am now, right? I know exactly who I am. And that lets me know what I'm capable of. And then I just have to go do it. But it also frees me from the result of anything that I attempt, because it doesn't touch who I am. I can fail miserably, like fucking miserably. And sure, I might be upset in the moment, right? Like you're not happy, right? Because you blew it, but it doesn't touch you. Sorry, my phone kept ringing. It wasn't my wife. It doesn't touch you. It doesn't touch who you are as a human being. And it gives you this space. It creates kind of in Buddhism, the self, but no self, right? All in the same time. So that, okay, I can just take all of my events and take them as information, my good ones and my skillful ones and my unskillful ones. And then at that point, I can just judge them and go, okay, that's the information I gained, do work. That's the information I gained, do work. It doesn't affect Eliot. And too often we allow the result of something to make you a failure or you a badass. And this is all we're seeing right now. You suck, I'm great. I suck, you're great. Right? We're in these two paradigms.
Yeah.
And it's just not true.
Yeah.
It's just not fucking true. Right? You did something unskillful. Okay, good. What can you do? More skill. You did something very skillful. Okay, what can you do? More skill. Just have more skill. Just be more skillful. So these words, right? And man, when someday when I'm totally enlightened, words won't matter. But I'm not there yet. So words matter. So I don't say good and bad, and I don't say best and worst. I just say skillful and unskillful, and I walk towards the skillful. But it doesn't touch Eliot. The two boys, they're not here right now, right? They're in school. I will be their fucking dad until the universe comes to, I mean, even if the universe blows up, I'll still be their dad. Like, that's what it will say.
Yeah. Yeah.
I will still, my students, I will always be their teacher. Even the ones that have left and moved on, right? And are working with somebody else. And that happens, right? When they think back at their life, when this is all over, who was my teacher? I'm going to be a part of that. I will always be my parent student, and Amal Easton will always be my teacher. So I'll always be their students. So you just can't take it away from me, right? You can't take it from me. And if this is who I am, let's go, baby. I'm fucking golden. I'm golden all the time.
I love that.
I
love that.
Is a
I was, it was so crazy you're saying this. I was yesterday watching a TV show, and it was, they're interviewing Matthew McConaughey. And they were talking about his first gig as an actor, and he had no experience. He was just in school learning the back end of directing and all that stuff. And some guy found him at a coffee shop, say, hey, why don't you come and try for the movie? They liked them. Say, we're going to put you in a small role. You just have to be yourself. The first action scene, he was in a car. He had to go through a drive-through, and he had to talk like try to pick up a girl in the drive-through. And he said he was so shitting himself. First time acting, he was shivering. He couldn't figure it out. And then he did an affirmation to himself. So he goes, okay, they want me to be myself. I'm confident when I'm outside. I have no issues talking to, like, he's affirmated the 3 or 4 things that, like, this is me. Like, why am I scared to be me? And all of a sudden he killed the role, and that led to his career. So it's crazy when you say that, because once you truly know who you really are, nothing could stop you.
Look, I wish I could show everybody, but like, if everyone can see it, like, this is my girl, my fighter that I have right now. She's going to fight in a couple weeks, in 3 weeks. Every morning we get on Zoom, and then afterwards she texts me, I am amazing. I'm a mother. I'm a fighter. I'm a student. I'm resilient. I am determined. And it's just littered through my phone every day.
I love it. I love it.
It's just littered through my phone, so that when the reason that this shit is so important, right, is because everyone's ground gets rocky at some point in their life. Like, my ground got as rocky as could be. And I cracked, right? I cracked because I didn't know who I was, right? I didn't know who I was. Now I know who I am now. So the roots, the tree that is Eliot, it goes deeper than anywhere that the ground can crack. So when the ground cracks, it's okay. The ground cracks. Got it. The ground fucking cracks. It is what it is, right? It is what it is. The ground fucking cracked, but the roots are deeper. I've got something to hold on to. So it might be all shaky up here, right? The leaves and the branches and the leaves might fall and all of this, but down here, down in the deep shit, down where it really fucking matters, we golden. We're fucking solid ground.
I love that. I love that. And I take it in a different metaphor. I talk about just your anchoring point, right? If you're anchored and you know where you truly are anchored, you could be pulled in every direction, because at the end of the day, you're always going to come back. You're always going to be anchored back to your same spot. So you could have the great family. You could have the great business. You could be a coach. You could be a mentor. You could be whatever you are. At the end of the day, everything's rooted, like you said, rooted or anchored into one spot, because you know where your home is. You know who you are and truly inside. So I love that. I mean, that's awesome. So you
got to practice this every day.
Yeah, you're always practicing. 100%. Go. Let's talk about your steps. Let's talk about your steps.
Yeah. You have to practice it, right? How do you anchor? You breathe.
Yeah,
you breathe, right? Because you always have the breath. If you're alive, you have breath, right? So you take them. You practice breathing. Okay. You practice sitting still. Okay, or lying still. And this is a practice. You have to practice it. It's a daily practice, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You do really, really hard shit, right? You have to do hard shit, because if you don't do hard shit, you don't get to practice anchoring back.
Yeah. 100%.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And for me, it's exercise, right? It's like exercising jiu-jitsu. It makes you come to the present moment. It makes you take a breath.
Can I ask you a question? Do you still push your limits with jits in the way where you're still trying to be a student as well, or are you just the teacher now?
It's hard because I get hurt, but
But I'm not talking about a competition, but do you still try to improve yourself on a daily basis by being instructed by others?
So being instructed by others. Yeah. So online instructionals, it's kind of hard to be like, a teacher right here in front of me, because it's not my focus, but I'm learning all the time. Right. I'm watching like John's instructionals all the time, Don Hurst.
Yeah.
And do I do it? I do it. Yes, I do it, but I do it in other ways. I put myself in like a fully straightened out armbar, and let's see if I can get out. Right. Let's see if I can stay calm enough, because that's the first thing. Can I stay relaxed enough that I give myself a chance to get out of the fire, right? To walk through it. Because if you freak out, your whole arm's tense. You can't move. You get armbarred, right? I put myself as deep into the choke as I can be without like actually full on like going to sleep. And let's see if we can deal with it, right? Because I can't train hard like a competitor anymore, right? I'll break.
Yeah.
So you have to find other ways. So for me, the other ways are get into as much trouble as you can, right? And slowly and calmly work your way out. But then that also brings this humility piece in, right? Because I got to tap a lot. I lose a lot, right? You lose, because if I'm going to let a decent purple belt armbar me over and over again, they're going to get it sometimes. Even if it's, even if I get out 9, they got me once. And for them, that's really cool. They just beat their instructor, right? Black belt, UFC fight, so it helps you swallow that ego. But what that does is it shows people, from my perspective, and this is what Amal always did, it shows people that the tapping, like in the school, that one thing isn't that big of a deal.
Yeah.
But when we think of it, no event is really that big of a deal. It's a big deal in the moment.
Yeah,
right?
I agree.
I agree. Right now, it's really, it's the only thing that matters.
Yeah.
But in a second, it won't be.
No, it's the past. It's time changes every day. Yeah, 1,000% agree.
Right. So it teaches this amazing concept. Okay, great. Amazing. Good for you. And George said something to me once. That was, I got to do a podcast with George, St. Pierre.
Yeah.
And we're on the podcast and he's like, Eliot, look, I'm not better than any of the guys I've ever beaten. I'm not better than them. I happen to be better than them on that day in that moment. And if a goat can see it that way, then we all can see it that way.
Yeah, I love that.
Then we all can walk through life in a way where we're not better than people. I'm not better than you, and I'm not worse than you. We're just doing this experience in this moment together, right? And we are in this game of life together, and it's not a competition. Even though it can feel like it, and there's not a finite amount of food for us to all eat, and that's one of the things that I think is really an issue right now, is we're acting as though there's a finite amount. Like you and I both can't be successful. And that's not true. Look, you're trying to help people have purpose. I'm trying to help people have purpose.
I'm 1,000% agree, 100%, million% what you're saying. So that's exactly my mindset. I mean, there's 8 billion people on this earth. There's enough people to help. There's enough people that need help. There's enough people that we could align ourselves with. I agree with it all. But I also do understand reality where, and I was talking about something about this the other day, Eliot, is most people will be your biggest cheerleader till you start doing better than them. And it sucks, but that's the way the world works. And I see it all the time. People that I think are really, really good friends, and I help the shit out of them, and I do so much to get them to a certain level, and then I start doing well at it, something else, and then all of a sudden they're just like, it's just a competition now. They don't that friendship slows away, and I'm like, wow, like seriously, you're doing that right now, and it sucks, but that is also the reality. So we have to understand that as well, because when we put ourselves in that situation where it's like you think everybody is just this great individual, this great person that's willing to help you, you get hurt.
No, you don't.
Okay, explain it to me. Why?
I know who I am, and nobody can hurt me. Only I can hurt me. My feelings are 100% for me.
Interesting.
Nobody else gets them.
And you don't, and you never, and it never, when did you come to the realization
of course, I'm not
that?
perfect.
Yeah.
I don't know, a year ago, 2 years ago. But if I own my feelings,
yeah,
right? Like this idea that somebody else owns your feelings, or that they can make you feel a certain way, is just not true.
No, I 100%. Yeah.
It's just not true. I feel a certain way because I have a need that's not getting met. So if I can figure out the need, if I can express my need, well then, okay, I'll handle my feeling. And feeling, I mean, we have all kinds of feelings: motivated, disciplined. We have a motivated, happy, sad, anger.
Yeah, of course.
All these things. And they come and they go, right? And they come and they go. But, you're happy when your needs are getting met, and you're sad when they're not.
Yeah, I love that.
So figure out your need. But you own your feet. But the problem is again, we don't want to own our feelings right now. You did this to me, therefore it's your fault I'm feeling this way. Man, fuck that. If you can make me feel a certain way, if somebody outside of me can make me feel a certain way, I'm fucked. I'm screwed. Because if that doesn't end, because now we're working in the finite. Because now I have to crush you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Now I have to crush you because you can make me feel a certain way. I must crush you because you made me feel bad. But I don't let you own my feeling. I own my feeling. I feel this way because maybe I'm insecure that day. Maybe who the fuck knows what need I have.
Yeah.
I don't feel safe. I don't feel that I'm not, it's not boom, boom, whatever that is. It's mine, man. You can't give that shit away.
I love it. I love it. We are going to come to a close. I'm going to ask you a couple more questions before we end off, because I know time is sensitive here. If you had a superpower, what would it be?
I'm a survivor, baby.
Love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor. That's my superpower. What you want? Yeah, let's go. Let's party.
If something were to happen to you today, in a few words, how would you want to be remembered or described by your loved ones?
I would want every single person to know that I loved them.
Simple.
I want every single person to know that with all of my heart, that I truly love them, and that I would ask for forgiveness, and grace in any way that I ever hurt them. That's what I would want.
I love it. I love it. Any last thing you want to tell our audience before we head out today?
Don't let anybody ever tell you that you can't do it, and I know it looks, and sometimes I hate that, right? Because people can look at me, I'm big, I'm strong physically, right? I own 7 martial arts schools. I fought in the UFC. God, guys, I'm such a softie, I'm such an emotional softie. Like what I need, I need hug. I need a hug. Like I need, I need a hug. I need love. I need safety and security, of that attachment to other people. I'm not this hard outer shell that presents on Instagram or on whatever. When you Google me and you watch the videos fighting, that's a piece of me, but that's not who I am, that's not who I am. I need emotional and soft, all of what you would think of as feminine traits. I need all of that, I personally need all of that. So,
but I think that balances people out.
Yeah.
I think it's such a powerful thing. I think it's that vulnerability, the authenticity. I think it just balances people out, and it adds such a strong layer to you. Mm-hmm. So I appreciate that, man. How could our audience get a hold of you?
Find Marshall 205 on Instagram. That's where I answer. I answer on my Instagram. Don't Facebook Messenger me. I fucking hate Facebook. For sure. Don't Twitter me. Don't tweet me. I might respond, but if you want to talk, if you want me to respond, if any of this resonated with you, or if you want to tell me I suck, I'll probably respond to that too, right? Because I'm good with it, It's FireMarshall205 on Instagram. My website is EliotMarshall.com. And you can get everything off there, right? I have a webinar, I have a course, I have my book is on Audible, The Gospel of Fire, my own podcast. But I don't really do the plug. I guess I just did all the plug shit, but you know,
I'm gonna put
at a time.
I'm gonna put all the show notes. I'm gonna put in all the show notes, all these 16 or 17 links to Eliot. But it's been a pleasure, buddy. I appreciate you, and I appreciate everything you do, and I appreciate you as a person, because I think there's a strong, good soul in there, and I think it's coming out, and a lot of more people in the next couple of years are going to really, really see it, and you're going to inspire a lot of people. So good for you, man. I appreciate you, brother.
Man, thanks for reaching out again. You know, like, you just hit me up, right? Like, that's how we reconnected, is you just hit me up on Instagram and you reached out and said, yo, do you remember me, basically? And I was like, oh shit. You know, I even think my wife was sick when we met, right? And I think you helped get her medicine in Montreal because she was sick from being pregnant, you know?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know if you remember or not.
I do. Yeah. I do remember that.
Yeah.
I went because I was there with Talis Latis and all his family. And I went with his cousin to the pharmacy. I went to buy him electrolytes, and I bought you something. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't me. It was my wife.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It was my wife, because she needed something because she was so nauseous from being sick from being pregnant.
Yeah.
So
crazy.
But
crazy.
man, thanks for the friendship. Thanks for the rekindling.